man. We got the Delhi Divide in Tottenham, man. OFB versus NPK, man. I know that Abracadabra is from OFB, if I'm not mistaken. We like Abracadabra on this channel. He hasn't been failing us with on the music side. You feel me? But they told me in the comments to react to get deeper into it and react to the Delia's Divide OFB versus NPK joint. So yeah, man, let's see what they got going on, man. Without further ado, let's get
As of
straight into it.
UK drill, we've seen many artists and groups' relationships crash and burn, but not many has been as infamous and televised than two groups in a North London town called Tottenham. Today, we'll be looking into the rise and fall between two drill groups called NPK and OFB, and how their friendship turned into eventual tragedy. Let's get into it.
So they were linked up together, turned into a tragedy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Shout out to Kid Nerd, man.
Guys, before I get into this video, I just want to say a quick message to a lot of the young youth who live inside and outside of London who may be watching. I know a lot of young kids who watch these videos may find themselves in similar situations as people in this video or videos that I've done in the past. And I just want to quickly say before I get into any of this that this life is not the way forward. A lot of young kids growing up, especially in London, are getting involved in gangs without even knowing it until it's too late. But luckily, we live in a time where there's a lot of support for young kids who are starting to see themselves creep into this lifestyle. Whether it's mental health support you need, rehousing, mentoring or financial support, reach out to my Instagram in the description and I'll do my best to lead you into the numerous programs and charities who work hard to help people make a new life for themselves. Because at the end of the day, there's not much possibilities out of this life except death or jail. Now let's get into the video. So like I said before,
W Kid Nerd on that one, man. W Kid Nerd, man. He's doing his big ones.
we're taking this story to the North London town of Tottenham. Now, Tottenham is infamous for many reasons. It's bred some of the biggest artists in the UK, stemming from global pop stars like Adele and major grime artists such as Skepta and Chip, and now big drill artists like Heady One and Abracadabra. In the last few decades, Tottenham has also been notable for a lot of violence and crime. Infamously, the area of Tottenham has been known for igniting big uprisings like the Broadwater.
The fuck? They having riots and shit? What's going on? What?
The last few decades, Tottenham has also
What
been
be
notable
happening
for
to
a lot of
Tottenham,
violence
bro?
and crime. Infamously, the area of Tottenham has been known for igniting big uprisings like the Broadwater Farm riots in 1985 and the London 2011 riots, which put the country into a...
Is Tottenham like a I wouldn't say the whole area, but for the most part, is it like the low end or like the poverty side of UK? If I'm saying it right.
national lockdown, which is a topic for another video. But also a lot of gang warfare has plagued the community, especially in recent years. See, Tottenham is a big area spanning across two different postcodes, N15 and N17, with many different estates and cliques. But today we'll be focusing on the N17 side of the town, which is
bro. Look how many brackets is it, bro? What the
spanning
fuck?
across two different postcodes, N15 and N17, with many different estates and cliques. But today we'll be focusing on the N17 side of the town, which is a side more notorious for violence than the other. So let's take it back to the 1970s to a big housing estate inside Tottenham called Broadwater Farm. Inside this estate, the formation of a group called the Tottenham Mandem was created. The Tottenham Mandem throughout the 70s to the 90s built up a big reputation for violence across London. They were big players.
That dude look familiar. I don't know why, but he looked familiar. He looked like freaking I forgot that dude. He produced like Suicide Boys or some shit. Murder Inc. Yeah, the dude from Murder Inc. Yeah. If you know his name, drop it in the comments. I forgot his name. He looked like the dude that run Murder Inc. or who used to.
in the London drug market, and notoriously had many deadly feuds with other groups across London, to the point where the Met Police ranked the Tottenham Mandem as the second highest group in London's organised crime network.
Oh, that can't be him.
The group spread their influence all through.
That can't be him. It's not him. It's not him.
Other groups across London, to the point where the Met Police ranked the Tottenham Mandem as the second highest group in London's organised crime network, and the group spread their influence all throughout Tottenham, with members all over the town. Then in the early 2000s,
yeah, they all together. I can see that. Hey, they all together. They all doing their thing. That's crazy.
Who started repping their specific estates or sections of Tottenham. One of these areas being in the Broadwater Farm Estate, which was the original area of the Tottenham Mandem, and another was an area located less than 10 minutes away called Northumberland Park. Members of the Tottenham Mandem from Broadwater Farm started rolling with the name Star Gang, now known as OFB, and members from Northumberland Park started calling themselves NPK. For the most part, NPK and OFB members had a relatively good relationship, with them both having the same enemies being two nearby areas called Wood Green and Edmonton, who Tottenham have been feuding with for a while now. The feud between Tottenham and the two
right
local
in the middle of that
started to be more known when UK rap music started getting platformed on several YouTube channels like Limitless Vids and Pac-Man TV. A few NPK members like Stretch and Starks, and OFB members like Heady One and RV started hopping on tracks together, cementing their relationship in the public eye. OFB members dropped tracks like Youngers from Farm, which was making noise all over North London. But summertime 2010, an OFB member called Young RV dropped a big tune called Cruddy on the Streets, man, which really put up.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I miss those days, bro. 2010, 2000s. Good times, man. Good times.
A spotlight on OFB as a whole. An NPK rapper called Stretch was also putting on for Tottenham musically, dropping tracks like Sky Style and Thanks Mummy. Stretch and RV were actually quite close friends. But in a situation in 2011, Stretch was stabbed by members from the nearby area Wood Green. Allegedly, RV was with him when it happened, but ended up running away, leaving Stretch to have a deep hatred for RV and other OFB members. Stretch addressed the situation on a track called You're Not Cruddy on the Street, which was a direct diss record to RV, which left both sides to have a bit of a shaky.
Yo, that album cover looked fucking crazy, bro. Like, Davey.
Relationship. For the next few years, both sides weren't generally the closest, until the late 2010s when the new generation of Tottenham were coming up. Kids from both Northumberland Park and Broadwater Farm grew up together through school and playing out, and a lot of families crossed between both areas. And despite the past issues between the two parts of Tottenham, the next generation of kids managed to maintain their tight relationships, even after they started claiming their area's gang. In 2017 to 18, a lot of the spotlight from the UK drill scene was on Tottenham. A few NPK members called GP, Unks and KK started going up in music, calling themselves Sin Squad, hitting millions of views on some of their tracks. RV from OFB had not long come out of jail for a 2012 stabbing case, and him and another OFB rapper called Heady One started hopping on tracks together, creating one of the most legendary duos to come from UK drill. But in early 2018, the younger members from OFB.
Heady One, when I heard Abracadabra song with RV and Heady One was alright. I feel like Abracadabra kind of carried it the last time I heard that song. But yeah, the best rapper I know coming out of OFB so far is Abracadabra. Yeah.
Started trying their luck on drill beats. A few of the younger members jumped on a track with an older OFB member called Cash, and the song done decent numbers, considering it was a first track for many of the rappers on the tune. But throughout the year of 2018, the younger...
I feel like I'm mad close to the camera. I'm all up in this bitch. Oh shit. You could tell I'm fried. My fault, guys.
Members started jumping in the booth more and more, especially 3 OFB members who went by the name Double L's, SJ and Bando K. They started dropping music consistently, creating a big buzz in the UK. On the back of their success, younger members from NPK also started hopping in the booth, but weren't taking it as serious as OFB, so they weren't releasing much. A lot of their tunes started getting leaked online and posted on YouTube, creating a big underground fandom for the group. These times a lot was going on in North London, and
Bro, did Mandem have his scarf over his glasses, bro.
Music consistently creating a big buzz in the UK. On the back of their success, younger members from NPK also started hopping in the booth, but weren't taking it as serious as OFB, so they weren't releasing much. A lot of their tunes started getting leaked online, and
Yo, bro. Call this nigga Beetle. Beetle Man. He's a beetle.
posted on YouTube, creating a big underground fandom for the group. These times a lot was going on in North London, and 2018 proved to be a deadly year for Tottenham and surrounding areas, with back-to-back shootings, stabbings and murders occurring throughout the year, mainly between the areas of Wood Green and Tottenham, and unfortunately this constant back-to-back violence around the towns eventually ended up being MPK's and OFB's downfall. It all started on February the 22nd, 2019. The night before this day, a group of boys had drove and parked a Peugeot car inside the Broadwater Farm estate, which would become a meeting point the following day for several OFB and MPK rappers. The next day around 7 PM, a group of 7 OFB and MPK younger members and rappers set off on bikes armed.
We really moving pedals and pegs. Yo, they really be on them bikes, bro. Come on, bro. They said they in the cars nowadays, but are they still on bikes? Let me know. Let me know in the comments.
With a handgun,
Hopefully
shotgun,
not, man. Hopefully
swords and machetes, heading for their opposing area, Wood Green. When the group reached a street called Lordship Lane in Wood Green, they spotted 4 guys who they believed to be part of the Wood Green gang. Once the group locked onto them, they dropped their bicycles and brought out their weapons and started to pursue the 4 members, with one of the shots narrowly missing the woman who was in a nearby store. The Wood Green members started running into different directions to try and get away, so the Tottenham group got back on their bicycles to try and catch up with one of the victims who was falling behind the rest. They managed to catch.
These niggas doing this in bro, in the middle of the night. Not in the middle of the night, but these niggas doing this in public, bro. Like, open area, bro.
Wood Green. They spotted 4 guys who they believed to be part of the Wood Green gang. Once the group locked onto them, they dropped their bicycles and brought out their weapons and started to pursue the 4 members, with one of the shots narrowly missing the woman who was in a nearby store. The Wood Green members started running into different directions to try and get away, so the Tottenham group got back on their bicycles to try and catch up with one of the victims who was falling behind the rest.
Yo, you can see the nigga through the glare. Nigga, they got his phone. He's like.
3 members
if you
with
could
one
peep
of the
it.
shots narrowly missing the woman who was in a nearby store. The Wood Green members started running into different directions to try and get away, so the Tottenham group got back.
Wait, he threw a shot at him?
They spotted 4 guys who they believed to be part of the Wood Green gang. Once the group locked onto them, they dropped their bicycles and brought out their weapons and started to pursue the 4 members, with one of the shots narrowly missing the woman who was in a nearby store. The Wood Green members started running into different directions to try and get away, so the Tottenham group got back on their bicycles to try and catch up with one of the victims who was falling behind the rest. They managed to catch up and corner a 20-year-old man, then proceeded to stab him 8 times in total and shooting him once in full sight of members of the public. But the attack was interrupted when one of the victims, called Kamali, managed to retrieve his car and attempt to drive it into the attackers to save his friend. But once the group saw Kamali in his car driving towards them, they turned their attention towards him, circling his car attempting to smash his windows to get him out. While he was stuck between 2 cars trying to reverse out, Kamali eventually ditched his car to try and run into a hairdresser's which was nearby. Once he got into the shop, he tried to barricade himself inside, but the attackers managed to force themselves in, resulting in Kamali being struck several times, leaving him in a terrible state on the scene. Afterwards, the group rode their bicycles back to the Broadwater Farm estate and changed into clothes which they left in the car they parked off the day before and rode away.
What?
Sadly, Kamali didn't make it, and his death was announced the following morning.
They had a car already parked in the area a day before? What kind of shit? Nah.
In the next few months, one by one each attacker was getting arrested and remanded, at a time when OFB were reaching the highest numbers in the UK drill scene. 2 days before this attack on Kamali, SJ from OFB alongside 2 other OFB members released their biggest tune yet, called Next Up. And now stuff was looking real for SJ after he was getting investigated for allegedly being on the scene on the day. During this time, SJ started hitting the booth heavily, dropping some big tracks, building his name to be probably one of the biggest drill artists out at the time. A couple months later, the tragedy of K1 caught up to SJ in the worst type of way. SJ alongside other OFB members were invited to a freestyle session hosted by the well-established DJ called Tim Westwood on a series called Crib Sessions, which in 2019 was one of the biggest platforms for UK drill artists to go on. So it was a big statement that OFB was invited to go. But in one of the most unfortunate turn of...
Yeah, that was scrolling on my news feed too. That was popping up. It was definitely getting out there at the time.
Events. Halfway through the crib session, SJ got a call from the police to inform him that he was wanted for the murder of Kamali and that he was to hand himself over to police immediately. You can even see halfway through the freestyle, SJ's mood starts to change, realizing that this may be his last day of freedom for a very long time. Not long after the crib session, SJ hands himself in, and now with 5 out of the 7 suspected attackers locked up, awaiting trial for the murder of Kamali. It wasn't long before there started being issues between Kamali and that he was to hand himself over to police immediately. You can even see halfway through the freestyle, SJ's mood starts to change, realizing that this may be his last day of freedom for a very long time. Not long after
that was crazy, bro.
For the murder of Kamali and that he was to hand himself over to police immediately. You can even see halfway through the freestyle, SJ's mood starts to change, realizing that this may be his last day of freedom for a very long time. Not long after the crib session, SJ hands himself in, and now with 5 out of the 7 suspected attackers locked up, awaiting trial for the murder of Kamali. It wasn't long before there started being issues between both OFB and NPK members in jail regarding the case. Quite early on, there was rumours circulating that one of the NPK members who was on the case, who goes by the name of Osav, was starting to snitch on the situation, allegedly implicating other members in the murder. A few OFB members had stuff to say about it on Snapchat, building tensions and situations between NPK and OFB inside and outside of jail. On October the 8th, 2019, the trial officially started and the tension was high in the courtroom. Several teenagers who hadn't even started their lives properly yet was looking at going to prison for the best parts of their life, and emotions were high in the court. Not too long before the start of the trial, SJ had even been offered a £155,000 record deal while awaiting trial for the murder, which was a big sign that if he managed to beat this case, there was another life waiting for him on the other side. But the trial didn't go well, and it wasn't long till the jury handed their guilty verdict for all the 5 young men. At the sentencing, all hell broke loose. NPK members and SJ started to fight and yell abuse to each other in the courtroom in front of the judge, and when they were all sentenced to between 21 to 28 years each, the room turned into chaos. Chairs and other bits of furniture started to get thrown into the docks, and all the defendants started to get separated after repeated violence between each other. One of the defendants' stepdads even leaped from the...
Wait, so they started fighting each other? Wait, hold on. What the fuck?
There was another life waiting for him on the other side, but the trial didn't go well, and it wasn't long till the jury handed their guilty verdict for all the 5 young men. At the sentencing, all hell broke loose. NPK members and SJ started to fight and yell abuse to each other in the courtroom in front of the judge, and when they were all sentenced...
They yell abuse to each other?
To between 21 to 28 years each, the room turned into chaos. Chairs and other bits of furniture started to get thrown into the docks, and all the defendants started to get separated after repeated violence between each other. One of the defendants' stepdads even leaped from the stands and started to threaten the judge, screaming that he will murder him after the sentence was announced. The tension continued outside the courtroom when families and friends of the 5 defendants started to argue outside. Not long after, SJ and other OFB members took to Snapchat to say their side of the story, labeling the NPK members as snitches on the case, which overall was the real start of the break-off between both NPK and OFB, and members on both sides were making this publicly known through social media. But soon after the sentencing, on the 19th of February 2020, stuff started getting physical between both sides. 3 OFB and NPK members bumped into each other at a local barbershop, which ended with 2 OFB members being stabbed and slashed multiple times. A CCTV video of the situation leaked, which was posted all around social media, bringing awareness to what was happening on the streets of Tottenham. On the music side, while SJ was locked up, more new rappers started coming out of OFB, releasing tunes off the back of the success of other OFB rappers. One of these being an OFB member who went by the name of Ispot. He blew up from a single he released called 3S, and after a couple more big songs he dropped throughout the year. A lot of fans were saying soon he could hit the same level as SJ, but in September of 2020, the ongoing feud between NPK and OFB caught up to him. Ispot was on his way home from college on the train, but when the train hit a station called Meridian Water in Edmonton, 3 alleged NPK members spotted Ispot sitting near the window on the train. In front of shocked onlookers, the 3 NPK members proceeded to stab Ispot multiple times, striking mainly his lower back and face. One of the strikes actually ended up hitting one of his eyes, damaging his vision, but thankfully Ispot survived the attack. 3 NPK members were actually jailed after CCTV footage caught them in the act.
Bro, what, bro? What, bro? How do you survive that?
Up hitting one of his eyes, damaging his vision, but thankfully Ispot survived the attack. 3 NPK members were actually jailed after CCTV footage caught them in the act. During these times, OFB and NPK were taking shots at each other on drill songs. OFB rapper Band OK dropped a song called Patient, which had several disses aimed at NPK. A couple NPK rappers also dropped a song in early 2021 called Exposing Ops 2.0. They actually filmed part of this track on the OFB's block, the Broadwater Farm Estate, which caused a lot of attention in the UK drill scene. Another drill group around 10 minutes away from OFB's block was also starting to get some attention in the drill scene called TPL. They dropped a track called Philly Don't Dance, which had multiple disses towards OFB. TPL and NPK actually started linking up and eventually filmed a music video together for a track which featured both groups called Hitcock 45. They filmed this video outside Turnpike Lane train station in the M15 postcode, and many members from each side started posting the location of the music video on Snapchat and other social media. After the shoot was done, a few members were still posted outside the train station, and unfortunately a few shots were fired into the crowd of boys around 1 AM, with shots hitting a 20-year-old TPL member who went by the name of Showerman, sadly killing him on the scene. The same day, NPK's area in Northumberland Park, Tottenham, was also...
What? So they spent while they had a music video, bro. These niggas dropped a low out the music video, but why would y'all do that, bro?
Shot up with a young man being shot multiple times, but thankfully survived, causing a lot of friction in Tottenham. Day, MP who went by the name of Showerman, sadly killing him on the scene. The same day, NPK's area in Northumberland Park, Tottenham, was also shot up with a young man being shot multiple times, but thankfully survived, causing a lot of friction in Tottenham. A few months afterwards, an NPK member who went by the name of KY and his friend took a trip near the Broadwater Farm Estate. When they reached, they spotted an OFB member called Sitz and his friend sitting down on a bench. KY approached Sitz while we were sitting down, and the two started to argue. KY grabbed Sitz's phone from him, which resulted in Sitz slapping KY in his face. Afterwards, KY brought out a large knife from his trousers, stabbing Sitz 3 times, and then he made his escape. Sadly, Sitz didn't survive the attack, and mobile tracking caught KY in the act, resulting in him getting caught and sentenced to 19 years. Throughout the last few years, there's been numerous back and forth situations.
Straight bully vibes, man. Straight bully vibes
between the two groups, and with both areas being so close together, causing paths to cross all too often. Unfortunately, more situations, more than that.
Out of pocket, man. They really standing on business with this shit, man. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I ain't gonna lie. So it sounds like I ain't really hear too much about Abracadabra, man. So it sounds like he's the people that actually got signed and shit, they on the bigger and better things, man. So that's good to hear, man. For the most part, man, that's devious. It's devious estates over there at Tottenham. You feel me? not to say that wrong. You feel me? But yeah, man, if you like that, man, make sure you're hitting the red button. We going up, not go down. All right? We out. Bow.